My name is Narain. I'm a third-year medical student. However, for as long as I can remember, I've always had a love for storytelling. I've always had an innate love for movies, books, music, all of this mass media. And watching these stories be told out by famous directors of our time, present, past, has always inspired me to want to make my own stories. And I ended up having an outlet for that in terms of filmmaking, photography, and having speeches and public speaking. So I have to admit, I've always loved a good success story. Whether it be entrepreneurship or people who have faced adversity throughout their life to become someone better, someone great, who has achieved great things, to the greatest of athletes who show us the pinnacle of human performance. I've always been inspired by these stories because they show us that anything is possible as long as you can put your mind to it. However, the more I heard of these stories, the more I wanted to know. Was it fate that made these people who they were, who they ultimately turned out to be? Or was it something else? Was it something deeper which inspired them, which drove them to these astronomical heights, to achievement and to get all the accolades which they have? I have thought about this a lot, and it has been the subject of many late night thinking sessions over the years. The culmination of those thinking sessions being the fact that I just arrived at one question. In the short amount of time that we as humans have on this planet, how is it that some people are able to derive meaning from something as ambiguous, as perplexing, and frankly as paradoxical as life, and then go on to achieve such great things? This question has been just sticking with me for years on years. And it inspired me to take a look at myself and to acknowledge and understand my journey through life so far to where I am today. I have devoted the last 3 years of my life as a medical student to understanding how the human body works when it's normal, to understand everything that can go wrong with the human body when it is not normal or not functioning properly. And now I will spend the next 2 years learning how to treat these conditions and bring out the best patient outcomes that are possible. However, my journey with medicine started when I was just a child, in my childhood. It started with me visiting my pediatrician with my mother. At the time, I didn't know much about what a doctor was or what they would do. All I knew is that he was someone you just went to when you were sick. They would prescribe you medication, you would take that, and voila, you'd suddenly feel better. However, ever since I was a child, I always knew that I wanted to leave the world a better place than when I found it. I always knew that I wanted to do something, that I wanted to be a part of something that was bigger than myself. And for some reason, medicine just ticked all those boxes and was just in my mind as that. Of course, as I grew up, I was presented with other career opportunities, such as becoming a Formula One driver, becoming a fighter jet pilot. I'm sure we've all had those. But at the back of my mind, medicine always had a special place in my heart and mind. And in the future, when I was faced with the decision of selecting a career path, I'm happy to say that I did end up choosing medicine. I got into medical school, and I have been happy with my decision ever since. I do not regret it at all. And if I had to go back and do it all again, I would not change a thing. So this is what I was doing when I was self-analyzing, or when I did a self-analysis on myself. And this is what I felt was meaningful to me. This was my journey of meaning in the pursuit of something meaningful. However, I then wanted to understand what meaning meant to other people, because we're only as good as we think we are. And it's ridiculous to think that in this society that we live in today, that we can get by only thinking about ourselves. So in that flow, I then wanted to understand what other people found as meaningful to them in their lives. So maybe it was authoring a book. Maybe it was pursuing the fine arts. Maybe it was just doing something which you felt was meaningful to you. It could be as simple as getting up in the morning and doing a workout. And I think that it's beautiful in the sense that what you define as meaningful to you is only based on your perspective. And I believe that perspective just like every single human being on this planet, is as unique as it is to the person who views it. Because at the end of the day, perspective is the lens through which we view this world. So as I was going through all of this, I then wanted to I wanted to take a beat. I wanted to take a step back and look at what I had done so far. So I had understood where I had come on my own personal journey, and then I understood what meaning meant to other people, which I felt was paramount for me to understand and move forward in my own journey of pursuing meaning in life. However, I then realized that every single person who has succeeded in this world has never failed. You can't tell me that no person who has succeeded or has built something worth admiring has not failed. Because as we all know, success is the product of multiple failures, and you can only have success when you have failures. So that inspired me in my next step in this pursuit of meaning, to look at my own failures, to look at lessons which I had learned over the years. And I'm sure I have many more to learn. But everything which I had learned so far have been taught to me by some of the most important people in my life. And I would not be the person I am today without those people and the lessons which I was taught by them. The lessons range in variety, from learning how to deal with situations in life, learning to be fluid, to be malleable, to be adaptive to every single situation which comes your way. I also learned to stand up from the most crushing defeats. We all know the saying, fall down 7 times, get up 8. But in reality, it's easier said than done. I learned to basically just, no matter what, always get up, no matter how hard you've been beat down. I also learned the art of loving unconditionally. This is something which I will turn back to in a moment. And finally, one of the greatest lessons I've learned so far is that if you believe that something is important to you, which something you find important to you, do not, under any circumstances, ever give up on it. Life will throw you into the darkest pit it can, and it will do it as many times as it can. But no matter what, if you can see the silver lining, if you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, you will always prevail. Because there is no one on this planet who has not achieved what they were after by giving their 100% towards it. As I was talking about it earlier, I believe that all these people, all these great entrepreneurs, all these great athletes, they pursued meaning and they were able to find it. They were able to advance the human race in some of the accolades and achievements that they have done over the years. I believe that it all was just a product of one word. And I believe that one word is purpose. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, purpose and meaning, there's not that much difference between them. I beg to differ. In my opinion, I believe that purpose is something which allows us to define what is meaningful to us. And as human beings, we have the subconscious tendency to make our actions align with that purpose, whether we are aware of it or not. Everything we do in our day-to-day lives is all aligned with a specific end purpose, an end goal per se. So what I felt is that if we can understand what is meaningful to us, and if we can understand our purpose, then those things will automatically align with each other and they will synchronize. And all we have to do from that point is set goals to actively work on, to achieve what we can do to our potential. Now, so far I've been talking about how or what is the purpose of pursuing meaning and how we can do it. The next question obviously becomes, how can we apply these principles in our day-to-day lives? And I think, again, like I said, it's based on purpose. But you may be thinking, okay, what do I do with the word as purpose? It's just a word. Find out what it is that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, every single day, and makes you happy to do so. We all know the corporate 9 to 5, just get up in the morning, just commute to work, go sit in a cubicle for 9 hours, and then come back at the end of the day, watch a couple of episodes of Netflix and call it a day. I don't think many of us would be fulfilled with that kind of a life, to be completely honest. So I would say, find what it is that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, makes you happy to want to face the day with a new energy and pursue that relentlessly. Because at the end of the day, we only have so much time on this planet. Why wouldn't you want to spend that doing something that you love, something which you're passionate about, something which you feel can make a difference in this world? Along those lines, I'd like to share the story of Jose Hernandez. I was speaking about failure earlier. Jose Hernandez came from humble beginnings. He was a migrant farm worker. He was a migrant field worker. And when he was just a child, he had a dream. He saw the launch of the Apollo spacecraft, and he was just in awe that people were capable of going into space. He made it his mission from that point onwards to become an astronaut with NASA. Over the years, he always worked towards this goal. And he was able to, one day, after he had come to a certain extent, he was able to give in an application. And that's what he did. When he got it back, there was a big red denied across the front. I'm sorry, unfortunately, we could not select you at this time. That didn't stop him, however. The next year, he applied again. Again, denied. That didn't stop him even then. He did not do this 1 time, 2 times, or 3 times, or even 6 times. He gave 12 applications to NASA, requesting them to accept his application and begin his training as an astronaut. And on the 12th application, he realized that he had been giving the previous 11 applications in the mail. So he ended up hand delivering that application right on the front lobby of the NASA office. He got in. On the 12th application, he got in, and at the age of 42, he became an astronaut, and he was one of the mission specialists for the Discovery Space Shuttle mission. This taught me so many things. As I was talking about my lessons which I had learned in the past, I was looking for a way to rationalize it or something to synchronize and harmonize myself with, to say, hey, I'm on the right track. Because up until that point, I was just shooting in the dark. But it was when I saw that story that I knew, hey, I'm on to something. I'm on the right path. Because nothing worth having in this life comes easy. And I'm sure every single one of you know that. Nothing worth having comes easy. And for you to want to achieve that, you really need to put in the work, and you need to have the work ethic and the commitment towards this. I spoke earlier about unconditional love. Now, love doesn't necessarily have to be towards another person, towards your interpersonal relationships in your life. Like I said, if you can get up in the morning and have a passion towards something and want to just chase into that every single day of your life, to me, that's the definition of unconditionally loving whatever it is that you're in pursuit of. And if you can unconditionally love something, no matter what it is, there is nothing on this planet that can be thrown at you that you can't just take in stride and just keep on going. And I think that's the main difference between someone who just pursues meaning for the sake of it and someone who is actually grounded and wants to achieve what they've set their mind out to do. And I think that's the main difference between someone who is actively pursuing meaning and passively pursuing meaning. If you can unconditionally love something, there is no failure in this world that when it shows up in your doorstep that you can't manage and you can't take care of. So I've been talking about how we can use meaning, how we can pursue something meaningful, and why we want to do that. I feel like, to end, we only have so much time on this planet. Our time on this planet is finite. And I think that's, for better or worse, a good thing. There have been many debates about whether we would be happy if we had all the time in the world to live. So, if you ask me, spend the time which you have and seek what sets your soul on fire and pursue that relentlessly and with unconditional love. Because why pursue something meaningful? Why be in this pursuit? Some people have acknowledged the pursuit of meaning to being similar to the pursuit of perfection, just an illusion that exists out in the ether, out in the matrix, that we are always in chase of, but never seem to be able to catch no matter what. It just seems to slip out of our hands at the very last moment, just when we feel we have a grasp on it. I would say, even if you spend your entire life in search of that, even without the guarantee of ever accomplishing anything, I would say that when you look back on it, when you look back on your life and you are known as someone who has pursued meaning, someone who actively did something or went after something that was important to them, that they never gave up on, that they were able to just devote their blood, sweat, tears, devotion, and most importantly, time into. I believe that the recognition of a physical award or an accolade, which, let's be honest, after some time crumbles, people forget. But what always stands true and what always stands the test of time is being known for pursuing something, being passionate about something. And that is not something that can be erased by any passage of time. So why pursue something meaningful? Pursue something meaningful for yourself, so that when you look back on your life, you know that, hey, I had one life and I did it doing the things that I love. So pursue something meaningful, and we are all capable of greatness on levels that no one has ever heard of. Only, and only if we choose to pursue it.